Welcome to the Pantheon Plus Rewind. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to yet another episode of The Rewind. We are Pantheon Plus, and this show, like us, is hyper-focused on Pantheon Rise of the Fallen, its development, and all the folks following the project. This week, the hype is real, as we got some huge news about what to expect in 2023 from VR. We're going to give you a lore lesson, and of course, we're highlighting the amazing community contributions that keep us brimming with Pantheon passion. So check your mirrors, adjust your gaming chair, and buckle up, because Pantheon is shifting gears, and we're along for the ride. Now join me, Theric, and my supersonic co-host, Desert, for this week's Rewind. Oh, we got a big show this week, Des.
Dude, and
you ready for it?
I loved that intro so much. Like, we're turning our Pantheon patience into Pantheon passion today, guys.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. I love anything you do with passion is it can't be bad, right?
Well, I guess our viewers will be. Well, let us know.
Yeah, I guess I'll be the judge of that. You're right. I don't want to speak for our viewers, but I wanted to mention too. Did you catch any of the Game Awards this week? That was a big deal this week. Did you see anything?
No, I'm like reveling in Pantheonness right now. So
Okay,
I've missed like every awards thing this year. Tons of announcement things I've missed that I would usually grab, but I did like that you shared or was it Byproducts shared the Hades 2 thing? Yeah.
Yeah, it was Byproducts during our stream on Thursday night. I saw them put it in chat. I had no idea Hades 2 was even coming. I mean, makes sense now that I think about it, but oh my God, as soon as I got it, I messaged Minus right away too. I'm like, are you ready to get addicted again? He didn't, He hadn't heard about it. I figured but he hadn't heard about it. So he was just as excited as I was.
And he's already raving about it, It's great.
Yeah.
It's great. Yeah, I'm going to have to watch, someday when I have free time, when Pantheon's not popping off.
I know, right? It's bad timing, but I don't usually watch those shows, but I did see Elden Ring one game of the year, so that's amazing. That's well deserved. So, hey, speaking of awards, you know what else is worthy of an award?
Ooh, I think
Our
know.
adventuring.
Yes.
Yes. And this week we've got Ziplocs on the Dark Mirror Rogue, Sparrow on the Elf Ranger, Bounty Code on the Human Wizard, Screech on the Scar Bard, Wiki-Woo on the Human Enchanter, Shuriken on the Dwarf Cleric, Horsasaurus on the Human Warrior, Fury Wrath on the Archai Summoner, Pavejo on the Gnome Wizard, Asera Avienda on the Elf Ranger, Churro Dude on the Halfling Direlord, Galarain Moonsong also on the Elf Ranger, and a newest member of the adventuring party, new patron shout out, Annoying Llama on the Human Monk.
Woo!
So that is awesome. Thank you so much, Llama. Llama's actually a streamer too, and I check out some of his streams when I can, and he's very entertaining. So if you don't know who he is, go and search him up on Twitch there, and you'll find his streams. But newest member of the adventuring party, so that's awesome.
Yeah.
So yeah, like quite a list of names there, and as always, we want to thank all our friends, including our friend Sparrow, for helping out with the graphic you see every week when you're watching this on YouTube. But of course, a major thanks to everyone who supports the show in whatever way you can. And just like Annoying Llama, if you want your name read out on the show like that, with your chosen Pantheon persona, you can join the Patreon campaign through the video description or the show notes. There's also the super chat and super thanks buttons to get yourself on the graphic and the amazingly crafted banner you'll see during this show. But it's only honestly because of you and your community mindedness that we can do this show and do what we do here. Desert, remind me, what is it we like to do here? I can't remember.
You know what I like to do? I really, really like to do giveaways.
I'm so glad you said that, because we are going to do another giveaway for our holiday show before our 2 weeks off. We have that coming up next week, and with the holiday season in full swing, it's time to empty the Rewind bag of toys for everyone. So next week, in the spirit of what's going on this week, on December 18th, we are giving away another pre-alpha pledge package, as well as an alpha pledge package and a beta pledge package. So we're hitting all the tiers.
We're getting them all.
We're getting them all. It's going to be our biggest giveaway ever. I'm super excited for this, as I know you are, Des, too. It's like I said, our last show before our 2 week break. So we want to make it a special holiday for some lucky Pantheon fans out there. So make sure you are here for the premiere next week if you want to get in on that and join the fun, right?
Oh man, I can't wait.
Yeah.
Yep, it's the holidays. Perfect.
Yep, it is. And a pre-alpha pledge will serve you well in 2023, but I don't want to spoil the whole show. So Desrin, shall we jingle all the way to the news and notes?
Yeah, let's go.
This week in Visionary Realms news and notes. All right, here we go. So this week, VR made a major announcement that starting in January 2023, they're going to be holding monthly pre-alpha tests for VIP pledgers and above. So they tweeted that out. They said, you've been waiting for this, and we certainly have. So you can get in there and pledge if you like, if that's something that's interesting to you. But monthly pre-alpha tests is quite a
shock,
quite a surprise, a shock.
Yeah, I
don't think anybody saw this coming.
It just kind of popped up, and I was like, "Whoa, what?"
Yeah.
I mean,
like,
we're going from, as soon as we can, more often, and all these like things to it's monthly.
Yeah, right. And we were kind of like waiting for other news, which we're going to talk about. Like that was what we were sort of on edge and waiting for. And then this came up and we're like, it's almost too much.
Yeah.
So they actually clarified this because there's a good question that was raised. I want to give a shout out to our friend of the show, Graham Olson, who actually has a Scion of the Black Rose pledge that they won on the show here. They wanted to know if that level of pledge is included with this because it does say VIPs, and technically that's a pre-alpha test, pre-alpha pledge, not a VIP pledge. It's the $750 one. If you're not aware, that's the one they introduced this year. Graham won one of those, like I said. So he asked the question, does that include it? And they clarified, yes, it is included.
Yeah,
so
I think they even posted another like Twitter post about it too, specifically to say like Scions, like,
Nice.
Oh yeah, it's great. They're on it.
They're on it. So obviously huge news. And I think it's safe to say we agree this is going to have a huge impact on how Pantheon develops and the ongoing development that we're so involved with. So Desrin, let's dig into the details here and just sort of share some thoughts on really what this means, big picture. So I'll start out, and I think I get the easy answer by going first when I say that this signals the confidence that they have and where they're at with their foundational elements, that being like the networking stack, the models and the animations, some of the core design stuff, such as the classes and abilities, and even the development tools. I think that, they talk a lot about having good tools to create at a rapid pace and create good content. I think this really speaks to what they can do on a monthly basis with those tools. So, And the other part of that too is that I think that indicates that they have a really strong feedback process in place. Because if you think about it, starting in January, they're going to be getting monthly feedback from their VIP testers. They have to parse that feedback. They have to decide how much of it is, what to act upon, what to do. And I mean, that's no small task by any stretch of the imagination. And I believe that this shows a different VR, a more, I just want to use it robust over and over again. I don't know why this week
it's all the Japa-ness.
Yeah. But it shows how much VR has grown as a company this past year, whether it's the staff hiring or just, their internal structure and how it's changed and become more grown as a company. They're ready to ramp up that iteration loop, wouldn't you say?
Oh yeah. And I like it. At the risk of being both too vague and too specific, I got to shout out just the rate at which iteration is happening now. Like the new hires, they're settled in, at this point, and stuff is happening fast, man. The game,
absolutely.
The game already looks like nothing like it did a year ago, and it's not even close to finished still, but. I can't understate just how much their agility is ramping up, and I can't wait for everyone to see the evidence of that in 2023. As it, I think I like what you're getting at. It's like a new era of Pantheon, of VR,
Mhm.
A lot has been brewing, especially over the last few years. I mean, it's been rough, man.
Mhm.
They've
Yeah.
improved on their communication and all this stuff, but it's like it really feels like it's finally come to a head, and like the dam is like about to break. And I know I'm gonna have to like remove my my title, the hype killer or whatever. Because usually
Only some weeks.
I would refrain from that kind of stuff, right? But stuff's happening so fast this week.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's been so much leading up to it that like I'm pretty confident that now they're committing to monthly testing. I think that means stuff is moving forward really fast now.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny to think that we're here in December and, we hadn't had a pre-alpha test all year until, what, a
Till
couple months
October,
ago? Hmm. And
and then this
now
month.
we've it's like I'm trying to find space to incorporate all the testing they want to do, right? I'm like
Yeah.
telling my wife, I'm like, are you available this weekend? No, I'm not. Actually, I'm busy again. And I haven't had that conversation with her about, I haven't told her that, they're doing monthly testing in January. Obviously, it's fresh breaking news sort of thing. But I'm going to have to find a time to tell her, once a month, I'm probably out for a Saturday or something like that.
Yeah.
So, but you're right. I mean, it's going to be a different way of a different cadence to what the presence that Pantheon has in our lives is, people following it closely and people trying to bring that to you who maybe can't or just aren't following it that closely. So I think it's going to be really quite a shock
Yeah.
when we see this in
Now,
action.
now that you kind of like led into this, I think that consistency is actually really important too. The monthly side of things for VIP testers that might have missed sessions because it's sporadic, right? Like
Yeah.
they could
Yeah.
not follow the game for a month and then realize, oh, whoop, there was a session. Oops.
Yeah.
And not to mention
And
how
these
long.
most recent ones were kind of short notice too,
Yeah.
so they may have missed some of the more recent ones.
Yeah. So I think that the monthly cadence is just kind of another helpful boon to all the testers that we've seen. I don't think it's a mystery that people are starting to get a lot of Scion pledges.
Yes.
So their testing numbers are growing, but there is still a significant, I would say, amount of VIPs mostly, I would say, that have kind of gone dormant, that are starting to resurface. And because stuff like this, where it's like, oh, like development's going, it's consistent, people will start paying attention to that because they can predict, hey, like I could do a Pantheon test this month.
The value has gone up exponentially for the VIP and sign of the Black Rose level pledge. I think you're right. I think that people had kind of faded away when they felt like that wasn't part of the equation throughout most of 2022. So they were sort of hanging back a little bit, lurking a little bit, and they're going to come out of the woodwork now and really get more involved. And that bodes well for everybody, for them, for VR, for us, for everybody. So, and speaking of the testers, I think what this also signals to the testers is that the game's in a place where you're going to see something every month that gives you some confidence in the pace of progress. And what I mean by that is, I don't think they would embark on this if they couldn't show something tangible, right? Because you would get a lot of negative. It wouldn't be a good thing for VR if every month was exactly the same, right? If it was just a token effort. I think you don't want to be rolling out the same testing environment every month. You want to be, testing new things. You want to be looking at different things for the testers to experience and give feedback on. I'm not saying there's going to be drastic visual changes because that certainly may not be the case.
Yeah.
But rather, substantive changes that testers can kind of sink their teeth into. What do you think? What do you make of that?
I mean, yeah, we know that's happened before. Like when the team was much smaller, admittedly, but when everyone was kind of on deck for HDRP and vinyl, actually almost exactly a year ago now, they did kind of a, just for you guys test that was the same. It was the same build as well, not same build probably, but it was the same, client more or less as they had months and months and months prior, just because, what they were working on wasn't testable yet, but they wanted to give them something. And I think a lot of, I mean, don't want to speak for all the VIPs or anything, but, some folks didn't feel super good about that, kind of,
Yeah.
felt like,
I'm
why, aren't we supposed to be testing?
Yeah.
But anyway, I think, I don't think that's going to happen again, honestly. And while I definitely see more room to grow with like the team size, like I think there's definitely some positions still outstanding that could be filled and hopefully will be as money starts coming in. But I think they've got quite a good lineup now, at this point. And, I I think this is going to come up as a lot. And it's going to be one of those phrases like you mentioned, robust, right?
robust. Yeah.
But rapidly iterate or rapid iteration. I think that's going to be very present, in a way that the PA testers are going to see, exciting changes every month. And that kind of like buzz has been a little hard to come by, with, tests being so sporadic and such long periods in between over the last several years. Right. And
Yeah.
that kind of buzz, just from, we're going to see new stuff every time, in some
Yeah.
degree. Like you mentioned, some things may come in batches, like art and all this, or, there's very possible they'll be working on zones that, PA testers might not have access to at the time. But
Mhm.
I think, yeah,
Mm.
I
No, I
think,
think
I think this bodes well for, how fast they can do updates.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm really glad you brought up that just for you guys test. I'd forgotten about that. That is an excellent point because that's exactly what I'm talking about. That's that could be a situation where people feel like you're just doing this, there's no meaning involved in this. This is just taking up our
Yeah.
time for no real reason. And I don't think people are going to be satisfied with that. And you're right, that was sort of the vibe when that thing, happened. So I think that they've learned from that. They're going to move forward into a place where, what's testing in January is going to be this, testing in February is going to be this, like something that people can really latch onto and say, I've been looking forward to testing this specific item or because people like different things, right? They want
Oh
to do
yeah.
different things. So, and at the end of the day, it's more opportunities. And the quote from Joppa that we've heard is to let the game speak for itself. And now this can also mean more opportunities for content creators like us, for media outlets like, massively for MMORPG.com and others to really get a good understanding of where the game is at now, depending on what they want to show off. Because, this just creates content doing these things. It's just a matter of how much they want to put out into the world,
Yeah.
what they want
Yeah.
to release, right? So I think it just when the game is speaking for itself, I think they should let it. You know what I mean?
I totally agree. I think that's something that's just critically important going forward. If there is progress, as it seems like, I mean, there's going to be progress. I hope they have a pipeline in place for demonstrating it regularly. If all the monthly test sessions are closed door, it's not going to be as exciting for the non-PA testers. And there's a lot of them. There's a lot of you guys out there.
Mm-hmm.
But hopefully this kind of trickles into the public marketing material as well. Just for everyone to enjoy. I'm definitely thinking that is going to happen though. They've got quite a content creation team now. And again, I know we've kind of just mentioned this last week, but they got a new community manager, who's getting very settled in now. I think they have their hands on the steering wheel and a few a few of the things now.
Mm-hmm.
And that's Savanya, and she looks to be already starting to really get to work on some of that social media, where we're kind of starting to see a little bit of a, I guess, drop in engagement, to use the content creator term, right? But it really is just an exciting time to be a follower of the game, whether you're testing or not, because the more testing that happens means the more progress is happening, means the more stuff they can show to everyone.
Yeah. Yeah. So shout out to Savanya there, who said I was a fine, upstanding citizen. That she said that she couldn't imagine me as being anything other than a fine, upstanding citizen. This was a chat that there was in one of the discords, not NDA, but just I was instantly impressed with their hire of Savanya. So compliments will get you everywhere.
That's all you have to do is compliment Theric. He's like, that's good community manager right there.
That's right. Smart stuff. Speaking of, releasing stuff, the screenshot that came along with the next announcement. Now, we've been talking already for a bit, and we haven't even talked about the pre-alpha test for this weekend has been confirmed. Now, you're listening to this on Sunday or later. We're recording this on Friday. It hasn't happened yet. So we did get the confirmation of the 24-hour test starting December 10th at 10 a.m. Pacific. Cool screenshot of going along with this announcement.
Yeah, well, multiple screenshots as we'll get to.
There was. This one's got some sweet looking creatures in it.
Yeah, this is definitely something new. This is definitely something new in there. I think the goblin things, like we've seen those. I think those actually have been said to be placeholder. But
I'll be disappointed when they go away, if they go away.
Are you serious? I don't like them.
Those little guys.
I don't like them at all. No.
The problem I have with them is that I don't think they are in the lore anywhere. Like, I don't know if there's no reference.
They're
to
totally
kind of
just a hey, we need something here. I don't know. I'll disagree with you on that, but dude, it is so crazy. We knew the second test was a possibility, but I think it's fair to think that most folks thought it was going to be pushed back. Let's be real. We've been made used to this.
Yeah, I mean, there was a nervousness. There was some anxiety amongst the I think in the Pantheon community about whether this test was going to go ahead or not. I mean, everybody wanted the best thing for VR, and just nobody knew what that was. I think is fair to say. So if you trust their judgment and trust that everything's on track, then we're looking good, and I'm excited for it. So it's been just such a whirlwind. I feel like, Des, when we were writing our notes for the show here, we were like, as I was writing my notes, they kept announcing new things, and I was like, going back, literally updating my notes because they confirmed the test, and then we'll get to something else they confirmed. So like I said, PA testing this weekend, 24 hours starting December 10th. And then on Twitter, we also got the next announcement, and that's talking about the CohhCarnage stream.
Yes.
So it's happening, or it has happened by the time you've heard this.
Well, yeah. This is so weird when we do this. Yes,
I know.
It has happened.
It has happened. And you know what? It's kind of hard to be behind the news a little bit, because when you're hearing this, it's going to be, you'll have known. But maybe, if you're here for the premiere and you're in chat, we can talk about what we saw during the Cohh stream would be great. And that'll be a whole thing. So that's fun, and a cool screenshot to go along with that announcement too. So again, everything's looking good. So the CohhCarnage stream starts at 10:30 a.m. Pacific on Saturday, December 10th. It says, as he discovers everything Terminus has to offer so far. So definitely going to be lots to talk about. Yeah.
Well worded.
Yeah. We'll be 100% digging into everything we saw on the show next week, right? So sights and sounds of Cohh's adventure. I mean, there's just going to be so much to go over and review, and it's going to be kind of difficult, but I think we're going to do it.
Yeah. I mean, it's always so weird doing these when there's so much happening on the weekends, right? But it's so fun being in the premiere, listening to our past selves, chatting about it. We'll see how we feel in a few days, and I'm assuming most of our audience are probably going to be watching the Cohh stream, or playing. But you could expect us to really break it down next week and hopefully cement any of the details in. I do wonder how long the stream will be, though. I'm almost a little nervous. Like, am I gonna have to take notes on a 10-hour stream, Theric?
I trust that you could do it. I know you could. It's a matter of whether you will or not. I doubt it. I have to say, I mean, I don't watch Cohh streams. I don't know what his usual stream time is. I would be surprised if it was more than 3 hours, but I could be wrong.
I'm leaning towards that as well. But like someone pointed out in the Discord that sometimes if he gets into a game, he just goes. And
okay.
So I'm like, well, this is Pantheon, and if the devs don't, have a set thing like they usually do, like he might just go.
Yeah. Well, and if he follows his usual routine, which is clicking on every single little thing, maybe it will be a 10-hour stream. And nobody would complain about it. Honestly, nobody would complain about that. Everybody would be fine with it. So I wanted to have a conversation about, it's tough because I wanted to have a conversation about what we hope Cohh shows during testing. And we can't really do that right now because it's just tough with NDA and everything like that. I think the safer question, maybe Desrin, would be like, what would you consider a successful Cohh stream? So, I'll be purposefully general here and not be specific, because I think a stream that he does really, if it showcases the game's spirit, and what I mean by that is emphasizing the freedom and the openness of the world. They've described this as being unguided, without dev guidelines, without dev involvement. I really want him to go where the wind takes him, so to speak. And if that means, talking to every NPC, I'm okay with that. Obviously, I'm a little biased because I want to lore stuff. But I also want to see him find interesting places, right? I want to feel like he's not beholden to a preconceived path. The other aspect too is just the socializing aspect of it, right? I want, I don't want to say like showing people how to be social, but I do want to say like, show him as being a good ambassador of what the phrase community matters means, if that makes any sense. Maybe a little wholesome, I know. But I know you'll be okay with wholesome.
Right? Yeah, I could take it. But man, that
What about you though? I mean, what's a successful Cohh stream in your mind?
That is a good question. Well, first off, I kind of got to start off with, the stream's not going to solve all of our problems. Like,
oh, you what? No, it's not.
Like we're still going to get comments on, every video, every stream or whatever about the game's been in development for 8 years or, so unfortunately, like, it's not going to curb that kind of stuff. But I totally agree with you about the spirit, man. So on one hand, the game is still far from finished. And I'm pretty confident Cohh will be able to address that and, give the right context. Because I do think that's super important. But that's just the one thing. I also hope he remembers things like sprinting and climbing and all those little nuances and leverages them. I don't think we could bleep this out if it's too much, but it's really easy to forget to use them. I'm just gonna throw that out there.
That's fine. That's fine. Yeah.
But I hope he kind of acclimates to it pretty quickly because it really enhances the experience. So, but yeah, overall, I think a successful Cohh stream would be one where he shows off the spirit of the game, but also where I kind of imagine. So I really wanted to see like where his audience falls into that. They call it like the cozy stream mentality. He does this for a lot of indie games and games that are kind of more chill play style. And yeah, like Pantheon can be challenging and there's a lot of risk, especially if he starts at level 1, which I'm assuming he will. But there's kind of this certain hominess that I think that could be communicated through his stream, and it fits so well with his style of streaming, I think. So yeah, I hope by the end of the Pantheon stream, which, again, who knows how long he'll go, I hope it feels just like a normal stream, kind of like when he did those EQ streams a little while ago, and it just feels like home,
Yeah, that's well said. Feels like home is a good way of putting it, and I think that's what I want too. I also liked what you said about, giving it context. The game is far from finished. Like he's always said that during his streams before, like keep in mind, this game is in pre-alpha. They have a lot of ways to go. Like always giving that context for people and being calm and patient about it and not getting, not getting agitated by.
He's so good at it.
Yeah, it's 100% and better than me sometimes. Like this isn't in the script, but I want to say like, I went to Reddit this morning to see how people were reacting to the announcement of the monthly in January. I was blown away by how negative people were about it. Like I couldn't believe, maybe it's just Reddit, I guess, but like I was so shocked by how people were taking it as a negative thing. And I'm like, just where, like, let's be grateful. Let's have some gratitude, like, and understand that this is, again, we say it all the time, they're a small team trying to pull off a massive undertaking. So,
Yeah.
it's just, I hope that, and I think that that's why Cohh is so good for this game, that he will help provide that content.
Well, and maybe I guess that you could summarize it to be, I hope Cohh enjoys it, and I hope his audience enjoys it. That would be a much shorter response than what I gave, but.
Yep. So this is sort of the setup for this weekend, and we will obviously have way more to go over next weekend, but it was a busy news day, but that is going to cover the news of Pantheon for the week. But let's talk about what's going on here at Pantheon Plus this week. I want to show you our calendar here. So this is from December 12th through to the 18th. Of course, on Monday night is Drac and his pals. They are starting their Dark Age of Camelot adventures. So there's a new, what is it, like a fresh start server. Eden is the name of it, I think. I don't know all the details. I'm not involved in it. I did my time in Dark Age of Camelot, and I probably won't do it again. So I wish them all the best with that.
All I know is they're going Hibernia. I don't even know much about it, but I know they're going Hibernia.
And I think we're supposed to like support Hibernia. Like we're supposed to like get people to vote for Hibernia on Nathan's.
Yeah, something about going to Nathan's channel and voting, even if you have nothing to do with DOAC, or DAOC, sorry. Just apparently you're supposed to vote for Hibernia. So.
Yeah, well, you wouldn't think that we would know what's going on with our group here, would we? I mean,
we just do a podcast there.
About
this.
It's
fine.
Yeah, that's right. We are still playing Embers Adrift, a game I do know much more about, and I'm enjoying a heck of a lot. 9 p.m. on Tuesday night on our Twitch channel, and Thursday night on our YouTube channel with our MMO 101 and 201 group. I also want to say that I have a video coming out on Wednesday talking about Pantheon and Embers Adrift, sort of comparing the communities. Like, what more are we looking for in Pantheon that Embers doesn't have? So there's a lot to unpack from that statement, and hopefully my video can raise some interesting questions and start some conversations, because I think it's really fascinating to me that there's been sort of a lukewarm response from the Pantheon community towards Embers, but we can dig into that more next week. Friday, our friend Benonai has a piece going up on Pantheon.plus. It's another one of his conspiracy op-ed pieces, which are always super entertaining to read. And the Saturday night, Cringe Pony TV is back. I don't think there was one past weekend, so he's going to be coming back strong with another Cringe Pony effort. Before we leave this, I also want to mention I put out a video this week. If you haven't seen it, it's talking about the lore words, which I extremely creative in naming the video and just calling it lore words. But maybe check that out if you haven't already. I want to thank Massively OP for shouting out the video on their website when they were reporting on the monthly PA testing. That completely shocked me.
Like legit, like, there's this huge announcement about monthly testing, and they're like, hey, and while you wait, like, watch this video from Theric. Like,
yeah, I know, dude, right?
Awesome.
Like, what?
Cool. It makes me so happy because I feel like that shows that they actually like dig into the community a little bit, and not just get the official news and then move on. So props to you guys, Massively OP. You guys are great.
Yeah, that was awesome. I'm super, super hyped by that. And I also want to mention that coming up in a couple weeks, 3 weeks from now, December 29th, we are doing our yearly show, The Last Dungeon. And that's where we get our content creator friends together. We talk about the year of Pantheon that was this year, 2022. So this will be me and you, Des, as well as with Bazgrim. Nathan, are you surprised? Were you not aware you were involved in this?
Nope.
Oh, well, hey, guess what?
I'm excited now, though.
I liked how this is like 2 weeks in a row that I've broken news to you during the
Literally
show
as we're
about
recording.
your involvement in things.
Awesome.
I'm not the best planner in advance. Drac is way better at planning down the road than I am. But anyway, I digress. This includes us and Bazgrim, Nathan Napalm, Sparrow, Redbeard Flynn, and we're getting our special VR guest as always, bringing Minus back to talk with us again. So we've got that confirmed. We're going to also be giving away a Pathfinder pledge during that show on December 29th.
Giveaway.
Another giveaway. Giving it all away. So we do. So, yeah, looking forward to that. And I'm going to end our news and notes with just getting you to try to remember something, because I'm going to show you a video here. You remember those like cheesy 80s sitcoms intros where it's like there's a song playing and they're like doing something randomly, and then they look at the camera and they're like, oh, hey, and they wave and the shot freezes, right?
Oh, yeah.
Well, we decided that that level of cheesiness was something we were into at Pantheon Plus. So we wanted to, we made a promo video that Drac made, because he's a wizard and he's awesome and he did an awesome job. And I wanted to share it with our Rewind community here. So it also showcases folks, some of the folks I just mentioned, plus more, some of our streaming friends who contribute to Pantheon Plus. And that's what we're all about, is sharing and highlighting folks and giving people a platform. So that's it for this week's news and notes, and enjoy this video.
The Pantheon community is full of cool projects, new people, and things that are just worth sharing. What's this over here? Look at that. So let's see what we can find in this week's Community Spotlight. All right, let's get on with a bit of Community Spotlight. We do have some videos and other content this week, so pretty exciting. After last week, I feel like everything just the switch just flipped, like
yes.
Oh my gosh.
Easter famine around here, right?
It really is. But so the first one in the category of other content is a Benonai piece. Benonai's been doing a lot of stuff lately.
Busy boy.
Yeah, totally. And this is a pretty large one too. This one's called Panning for Gold in Recent Streams, and this is an article up on Pantheon Plus. Where Benonai's kind of, trying to pick up every single nugget from, recent Pantheon content or info or whatever, and digs up some faction stuff, potential lore bits, some all sorts of little tidbits, and if you want to take the next step into the madness as you wait for more Pantheon info, I think this article's definitely for you. Benonai will get you there.
Yes, who doesn't want to step into the madness? I mean, I know I do. Every time I read one of his pieces, I love these panning for gold items, these articles that he does, because like he's so good at finding those little details that I think 99% of people miss, myself included. So, and while we're talking about Benonai, it's not in the notes, but I actually noticed, I was looking at the forums today. I don't know if you saw this, Desert, but the winner of the fan trailer contest was announced. Did you see that?
Oh no, I missed it.
Yeah, so you remember he was holding the fan trailer contest, getting people to, and we all did one. I did one. Lots of people did one. So the winner, by a landslide, might I say, was Sir Medieval with his amazing.
Imagine that.
Imagine that. I think so. The total votes, like at the end of the day, it was like 985 for Sir Medieval, and then the second place was like 90 or something like that.
I mean, he did a good job. He not to take it away from him. Like he did a good job. I mean, everyone did great, right? But
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty funny, right?
Yeah, it's amazing. So, Sir Medieval, if you listen to this, and we'd be honored if you did, but go make sure you connect with Ben and I to get your prize. It was like a handcrafted leather piece that Ben and I created with the Pantheon
Yeah,
logo, like the world logo on it, I
it's
think.
sick.
Anyway, it's super good looking. Yeah. So, definitely check that out. And congrats to Sir Medieval. And awesome job, Ben and I, in running that contest. That's fun, man. We need more stuff like that.
Yeah, and next up, we've got several kind of similarly themed short videos here. So first one is going to be Pantheon Brief, pre-alpha test session with CohhCarnage stream by Disparate Worlds. This is part of their new series where they kind of like try to immediately respond to some big news. So naturally, this is Moxis giving like a quick update on the situation with the Cohh stream. Then also we've got, Bazgrim doing his Baz Flash. So Pantheon Rise of the Fallen commits to monthly pre-alpha tests. Episode 51 of Baz Flash, and kind of same thing, with the PA testing plus the Cohh stream announcement as well, and that's a short up on his channel. And then we've got Nathan doing Pantheon content. Sorry, I have to give him a hard time.
Yeah, we do have to give him a hard time.
He's
I like. I can only like, he streams so much, and it's like the Pantheon content is such like my favorite of his content that I miss it.
But I mean, if anything's going to awaken him, it's going to be this.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
he adds a little bit extra on this, so it goes over the announcement, but also kind of his thoughts on like the timeline of everything, and it's it'll get your blood pumping. It's great. It's so good to see Nathan doing Pantheon
Definitely.
video.
Yeah.
And then, speaking of Sir Medieval, we've got Sir Medieval's video from earlier, I guess it would be last week now, but saying a few details for what makes Pantheon Rise of the Fallen different. November 2022 newsletter MMORPG. But I just noticed that. It was newsletter MMORPG.
Well, he hadn't used every single character,
Right.
So he had to find 6 letters to fill it out there.
But this was kind of a combined bit of things. So this was kind of general update, mostly tackling the producer's letter, which is it's been a bit now, but he always adds his own bit of flair in there, of course. So it's producer's letter, schedule, roadmap stuff, and then his kind of recap of what makes Pantheon different. It kind of in accordance to the dev stream, but with his own bits on there. So yeah, really enjoyed it. I think it was a great breakdown of his, why he follows Pantheon, kind of a thing.
Yeah, I love that he's again, I say this every time, but I love that he's still committing and still doing full time, like lots of Pantheon stuff.
He's like doubling down, and I mean I think it's going to pay off.
I think so too.
Yeah, it's starting to pick up now. Hopefully he can keep up, right?
Yeah, he timed it well. I mean, I got to say, he got more involved. Like, what was it, like middle of the year, like in the summer that he started to do Pantheon stuff? And so he was the smartest out of all of us idiots. Of
why we've been doing this for years, but
yeah, we've been doing it for like 3 years. He's like jumps in 6 months before their monthly PA tests, and we're like, man, that's some good timing, dude. That is smart.
It's all smart. It's all good. But then, man, I don't want to say this is the best part of the community spotlight, but it's the best part of the community spotlight.
It's the best part.
I'm sorry, guys.
Everybody else has to take a back seat this week to what you're about to say.
ManOfRohan, he's dropped a new single. He's dropped a new song. It's called From Amenthiel the Dauntless. The human anthem, as he puts it in the title. And dude, I'm just not going to stop promoting this. It's an in-lore anthem for the humans of Terminus. I mean, I especially love some of the like harmonies he's got in here, but yeah, dude, I have been waiting for these kinds of like fan creations for so long, and I think it's just a great sign of what's to come. When the world that's being built out is just it's so deep, it has such engaging history and lore that you can make songs about it that like fit the world. Oh my goodness, it's so good.
So when I first heard this, I've listened to it probably 10 times by now, but I immediately had images of singing within like a huge cathedral. Like it's got a resonance to it and an airiness to the effects that he's used on his voice and the processing that he's done on it. It sounds so good. And there's even some unexpected, like you wouldn't think you're thinking like an organ would go along with it, but he's actually got some
It's
really
electronic stuff,
interesting, yeah, some electronic stuff that you wouldn't
It fits.
necessarily think would go along with this kind of a song, but it fits perfectly. And I don't know what his like the reverb settings he's got going on, but man, oh man, it works. And one of the other things I noticed about this song is that it's not monotone. You would, when I say monotone, you would take that as a bad thing, but it's got almost a consistency of the tone. He doesn't go too far in the note range. He doesn't go up too high or too low. It stays very in within a range of notes that you would think would be boring, but it has the exact opposite effect. It really focuses you on the words and the message, and it gives a real powerful tone to it, I would say. Love this song. Love it.
Completely agree. And with that finale, that is going to be it for this week's Community Spotlight.
Sit back and relax. It's time for the lore you know. Ooh, well, lore time. I'm still thinking about ManOfRohan's song. I can't even get onto the lore, but we have to move forward as we do. So let's look at our lore keepers of the week. We've got the usual crew there, and always good to see that. Now, last week I posed a little bit of a tricky question to everybody, and you caught it right away, Desert, and I was impressed by that, because the question was, what is the watery natural phenomenon in Wild's End? And the question is, and the answer is the well pond, of course. We've seen that recently. But the second question was, who would be most likely to take a swim there? And right off the hop, you want to say halflings. It's close. They live right next to it, basically, as far as we know. It's in their neighborhood, so to speak. But the other answer, there was another answer that was acceptable as well, I'll say, and that's the Darkmer. And we did have one of our lore keepers answer the Darkmer because they're an aquatic race. They come from the waters of Isul, and they are now in Terminus. Their city is, well, whatever. Anyway, they have a strong connection to the water. And our lore keeper, LaFale, our Australian friend, LaFale, saw that, got it. So I wanted to give him a good job, mate, and say that you definitely saw beyond the immediate area for a deeper dive on this lore question. So good job. And let's talk about our questions for this week. Going a little harder this time, but again, this is information that's definitely on the website. So if you go and look for it, you shall find it. The questions are, what's the name of the benevolent Dwarven High Mortal? And then what's the name of their evil counterpart? So there's an evil Dwarven High Mortal. The dwarves have what's called a triumvirate in terms of the deities when from Oldassa, from which they came. And on Terminus, two of them are definitely on Terminus. The good one and the bad one, so to speak. And if you can name them, then you can be a lore keeper of the week. So go check out the website, look at the dwarf stuff. You'll find it. You can you can leave your answer in the comments here on the YouTube video. You can also join our Discord, go to the Lore You Know channel, or again, you can DM me directly with it if that's what you prefer to do. But I encourage everyone to check it out and join the keepers. And that is the Lore You Know. Well, Desert, I can't believe it. We're actually done a little bit sooner than I thought we would be.
I don't even know how we did this. Like, I was expecting to just not be able to shut up for a while.
I know, right? We just got so excited that maybe we were talking very fastly this week.
Maybe
we were speeding through our notes and something happened. But anyway, yeah, we're at the end of the show. We got a big show next week. Don't you worry about that. And make sure you're not late for it, because again, we're doing some giveaways next week. It's gonna be awesome. And I want to remind everybody that you can come hang out with us on our streams on Tuesdays and Thursdays. That's 9:00 Eastern on Tuesday, 7:00 Eastern on Thursday. And man, we've got a busy week ahead. So in addition to us, me and you, Des, making all our notes, we've got a lot of, stream watching to do to prepare for next week.
We do. Yes.
So don't overwork yourself, Des, and make sure you stay hydrated, because you're going to need it. And everyone else out there as well. It's the time of the year. it's fun to be involved in the community and do everything, but make sure you take some time for yourself and just have some time for friends and family, because that's what it's all about, and that's what we're all about as well. So Desrin, thanks for being here as well every week, hanging out with me. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. My pleasure, always.
Right on. And we will sign off for now, and we'll say see you and cheers. See you next week.
See you after the stream.
Thank you for listening to this week's episode of the Pantheon Plus Rewind. Pantheon Plus is not affiliated with Visionary Realms. Be sure to check out our Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube channels under the name Pantheon Plus. You can follow Theric at Pantheon Theric on Twitter, and Desrin at DesrinDoes also on Twitter. And you can stay up to date with all things Pantheon at www.pantheon.plus. Until next time, cheers, and thanks for listening.